Hey, what up, cuz? How's everybody doing? Good? Good, me too. Sorry, I was trying to fix my little curtain back there. I'm gonna fix you guys a little bit. There we go. You guys see me better now? Okay, here we go. Yeah, I just want to go through or go over my winter driving experiences. How should we start? Yeah, about like 2 months ago. Yeah, 2 months ago, I had a load that was coming from out of Michigan that was heading towards Denver. And note this, the last time I ever drove through Wyoming was probably last year around March, February. So it's been almost a year since I've driven through Wyoming or anywhere up in the northwestern part of the states. But anywho, just to remind me, or just to refresh my memory all over again, I picked up the load and went to Denver, right? And all of a sudden a planner decided to give me a load that was going from Denver all the way up to Portland, Oregon. So okay, I took the load, right? As soon as I took the load from Denver, I was going up to heading up north on I-25, got to Cheyenne. Yeah, so that's when you guys starting to see those drifting snow. If some of you new students or new people that came out here on the road or start driving through those areas, that area is pretty dangerous around starting from November all the way to about April or March, at the end of March, beginning of April, because it has really high winds and a lot of cold wind that comes around circulated with hot air, and it creates a lot of wind and creates a lot of snow. Normally Wyoming is not a state that snows a lot, but when it does snows, it's a lot of drifting snow. So, and those drifting snow will usually cause a lot of black ice on the road. So some of you guys, in case some of you guys don't understand the system of driving on ice, or they live in the northern part of the states that's not from the northwestern part or from the east coast of the northern states, you guys are wondering why, from where I'm from, how come they don't just put salt on the road? But it just doesn't work that way, because if you understand the concept is that once the road is filled up with a lot of snow or a lot of ice already, and even if the salt trucks come over it or lays over a layer of salt, there's so much wind or so much drifting snow or drifting, because Wyoming doesn't have a lot of trees. If you guys ever noticed that, you guys ever drive alongside of the highway, most of the time you never see trees on the side of the road. You see a lot of those little pallet. Those are like pretty much wind deflectors, so it pretty much just deflects the wind that goes over the highway instead of picking up instead of cutting through the highway. It cuts from those little, if you guys ever see those little pallet deflectors on the side of the highway that's like decorated all over every part of the state along through I-80, pretty much with those little wooden pallet or wooden wind deflectors, what it does is it just kicks up the wind to go over the highway and back over to the other side of the highway, so it doesn't cut through the highway. Because if it cuts through the highway, if the highway didn't have those little pallet or those little wind deflectors, it would have just cut through the highway, and there will be a lot of rollovers. So that's the reason why if you guys ever go to Wyoming, you guys never see no trees, pretty much, right? And in Nebraska too. That's why Nebraska has a lot of rollovers too, if you guys ever noticed that. So that's the reason why Wyoming is like one of the dangerous states to drive through, because those once the snow melts, once the salt trucks lays over the highway with salt, the wind would just pretty much the salt will melt the road, will melt the ice, then the wind would pretty much turn that liquid all the way back to ice again. So that's how you guys get black ice in Wyoming. Okay, so I was going up there, and the only reason why I drove through that condition is because one, I knew that I was heavy enough to drive through that. No, that wind was about 50 miles per hour. So just to let you guys know that. And I was so heavy that the wind could possibly push me over, but it wasn't like any. It wasn't any kind of crosswinds that I was going through. It was just consistent wind that was going across. It wasn't those kind of wind where like it'll come and meet up and it will pick you up. So it was just consistent wind that was pushing over from left to right. And if you guys notice, if you guys see me like passing up those other trucks, it's because those other trucks that was going so slow. Because if you lose momentum of going up on the upgrade, you will lose traction on the road. So it's the best way for you to just keep going until you find somewhere safe to park. So I don't suggest anybody that is now over 70,000 pounds or 75,000 pound gross to even drive through that wind condition. Because if you guys one of these days I'll post up like the wind chart of how fast you could go, or how much wind, or how fast is the wind speed that you need to shut down, or how heavy you are for you to even drive through those wind conditions. So, and you will pretty much, when you go through Wyoming, you'll see those signs that will light up on the side of on the highway. Let's say 65 miles per hour plus wind in like 24 hours, or like the next day. So just prepare to shut down, or prepare to when you're gonna come through here, prepare that you need to be this certain amount of weight to go through. So most of the time, if the wind is too bad, they'll pretty much shut down the highway. That's why you guys see a lot of those little rail, what is it called, train railed guard or whatsoever, cross track guards that's on the highway, just in case if emergency that the highway needed to be shut down. So yeah, so you guys see me like driving through those other trucks that was going through there. The only reason why those trucks was slowing down because they was really light. You could just tell those windows just pushing those guys to the side of the road. Me and this other guy that was passing up those other trucks, we was pretty heavy. We was so heavy to the point where like even if we go through those drifting snow, it will have effect on us, but it wouldn't have a lot of effect as those guys that were lighter than us that was getting pushed aside to the road. So that's the only reason why I was driving through those road conditions. But just due to experiences, I wouldn't risk it for any newer guys to come out to even try to attempt those maneuvers. Even if you do, my suggestion is just stay behind those guys. And just for future reference, for all you new guys that was gonna come out here, just beware that if you're gonna drive through those wind conditions, I suggest you just shut down and message your driver leader or send in a macro 22 saying that you're gonna be late. Like they always say, there's no load that is worth nobody's life. So I just want you guys to, I just want to give you guys a little update on that. Me driving through the winter time in Wyoming, and what I've been doing. So yeah, I hope that just give you guys a little insight of what I've been doing and what I've been up to. So just a little tip for you guys, and like, comment, subscribe, and do whatever you do. I don't care.